Alrighty, you are looking live at Sold Out MetLife Stadium, where today the 16-0 and playoff-bound New York Giants will be taking on the 0-16 Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys 0-16 because they suck. Welcome to the Gridiron. Anybody out there, if there's anybody out there at all that's going to spend a little bit of time with me here this evening, I greatly appreciate it. Thank you. If anybody's going to spend any time watching a replay of this, once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Greatly appreciate it. Thank you. Going to try to go about 30 minutes here tonight. Shoot my mouth off for about 30 minutes. Anybody got anything to say, please feel free, fire away, throw it in the chat box. You try to check on the chat box like every 5 or 10 minutes or so. So, anybody got anything to say? As soon as I see it, I try to respond to it as fast as I can. Plus, instead of me just rambling on for half an hour, 40 minutes or whatever, just going on and on and on, it's nice to just talk to another Giant fan. So please feel free, fire away, throw it in the chat box. Before I get started, if anybody wants to help support my channel out, it would mean the absolute world to me. In the description box below, I got the top link in the description box. Takes you to my membership page. I got 3 different membership levels. The first one's called the Saquon. The second membership level is called the Lawrence Taylor. And the third membership level is called the Gridiron. Each one's got their own little perks to them. So if you want to help support my channel out, it would mean so much to me. And I thank you in advance. Thank you. If you are subscribed to my channel, once again, thank you. I can use all the support I can get. But if not, please go down below, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon, and next time I put out a video or go live, you'll be notified. And it's free of charge, whatever you got to lose, right? But if you are subscribed to my channel, I greatly thank you. And then finally, in the description box below, there's 2 additional Facebook links. The top Facebook links takes you to my Facebook group. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron. It's a group. Let's see, what are we up to here? We're 3,800 members. So we're over 3,800 members. Usually as soon as I get done going live, I'll spend like the next hour, 2 hours or so just putting stuff in the group and in the page, which I'll go over in a minute. I try to get up to like 10 different things or so every day in the group and in the page, if I can. Sometimes in the off season, it's a little difficult to find a lot of stuff, but once the season starts, it's so easy to find a ton of stuff. So I'm always putting as much stuff in there every day as I can, whether it might be an article or a post, a picture, something showing some stats on a player, a video, something making fun of the Eagles or the Cowboys, which are my personal favorites, right? And if you become a member, not only do I post stuff in there, but the members post stuff in there as well, too. So between the stuff I put in there and the stuff the members put in, there's a ton of New York Giants information going in there every day. And then the the second Facebook link takes you to my Facebook page. It's called the New York Giants, the Gridiron, but it's a page. I'm the administrator in there, so I'm the only one to post anything in there. But basically, I said it's like all my videos. Basically, my YouTube channel, my Facebook group, my Facebook page, it's all called the same thing. I dumb it down so a moron like me, I can remember. It's not, what's my YouTube channel called? What's the page called? What's the group called? It's all called like the same thing. Let's see, what do we have? We have over 1,800 people who like the page, and we have over 6,200 people who are following the page. It's really, really doing good. It's really taking off. As I said, it's the same thing. I'll after I get done going live here, I'll spend an hour or 2 just putting stuff in the group and in the page. And I said, once again, it's the same thing. Whether it's just a video, it's a post, it's a picture, something just showing some stats of a ball player, something. Something, once again, making fun of the Eagles or the Cowboys, which once again is always some of my personal favorites. I put a ton of stuff in here every day, and basically I don't commingle the stuff. So basically, stuff I put in a page, I don't put in a group. Whatever I put in a group, I don't put in a page. For the most part, I try to keep them separate. Unless I said, unless it's making fun of the Eagles, and I just want to share it with everybody. So that way, I might put that in a page and in a group. But other than that, I try to keep the stuff separate. So if you go to the page and you like it and you follow it, and you go to the group and you become a member, you get a ton of New York Giants information every day, 7 days a week. And like I say, all of my I say all of my videos. If you go to the page and you like it and you follow it, and you go to the group and you become a member, if you're not 100% satisfied, you get your money back guaranteed. All that stuff said and done, out of the way with. Let's see. I saw some articles here, as usual. One of them was talking about, the Giants may be taking a big step forward, having two good cornerbacks, but the problem, we have obviously some other question marks. Is who's going to be the slot? Right? We have a ton of competition in there, so that's it's good. You certainly want the competition. Now, who is this here? Empire Sports Media. It says Giants defense set to take a huge step forward with two good corners. But the thing is also, after the season's over with, now we're going to, take a step backwards because we don't have two good corners, right? Because it doesn't seem like, well, the Giants certainly could do something with Adoree Jackson. If they really wanted, they could sign him to a couple extra years, take his cap hit maybe this year, maybe drop it down a little bit, give us a little bit extra more cap space. But that didn't happen. So that kind of tells you that maybe this might be Adoree Jackson's final season with the Giants. I said, unless for some reason he just wants to be here next year and he's willing to take a nice little pay cut. I'm not sure how much, but at least somewhat of a pay cut. So I'd be interested to see which way the Giants are going to go. But I'm saying, but if we're going to take a nice step forward this year because we got two good corners, now of course, then we also have the question about who's going to be in a slot. Right, we got a lot of competition, but then obviously going forward next season, who those two good corners are going to be? It says here the New York Giants have an exciting 2023 season ahead. Yes, we do, absolutely. Following the playoff appearance in 2022 and impressive improvements throughout the organization, they are now focusing on fortifying their team talent. Let's see here. Overcoming challenges. Giants 2022 performance. Despite talent shortages during Brian Dable's first year as head coach in 2022, the management optimized player contributions and made significant investments to enhance overall roster athleticism. Deonte Banks, the Giants' notable acquisition. In line with their talent upgrade goal, the Giants made the notable move of drafting Maryland cornerback Deonte Banks is the 24th overall selection in the first round. Banks distinguished himself with the highest athletic score of any cornerback in this year's draft class and the third highest in the past decade for his position. Very impressive. Last season, Banks forced 13 incompletions, ranking 34th in college football. He gave up 258 yards and 4 touchdowns while recording 1 interception. Despite these stats, his ability to miss only 1 tackle showcases caliber as a boundary run stopper. With a 43.3 completion rate, Banks demonstrated excellent coverage skills. And, it's like he gave up 258 yards. He gave up 4 touchdowns, but obviously they weren't putting him on, the 13th string wide receiver for the other team. So, he only gave up 258 yards, which is a joke. I don't know what did they play? 12 games? Just say they played 12 games. So 12 into 258 is like what? 21 yards a game he gave up. So he gave up 4 touchdowns, but once again, it's going up against the best of the other team. But it's like 43% completion rate. So he has their quarterback throwing basically to their best wide receiver, and they're completing 43% of the passes. So that's pretty darn impressive. It says Banks and Adoree Jackson, a promising pairing. Pairing Banks with veteran corner Adoree Jackson is precisely what defensive coordinator Wink Martindale envisioned for the draft. He said he was obviously super excited, and it's something for his defense that's very important, having 2 good corners. Shane said recently on the Giants Huddle Front Office Edition podcast. So with Tay Banks and Adoree Jackson, I think the defense has taken a little bit more shape in terms of what he wants it to look like. Yeah. But Tay Banks was one of his favorite players in the draft, and when we were able to get him, he was obviously very excited. Yes, he was. He almost threw Shane's back out by patting him on the back. My back is still a little bit sore from the bear hug that he gave me here. Jackson is in his final year of his contract with an $11 million base salary and a $19 million cap hit. So, yeah, I mean, but then again, I mean, you look for a decent corner. I mean, it's, yeah, kind of reasonable. I mean, that's kind of what the market, what you also would like to have from Adoree, but it's just not what he is. To get the ball, to intercept a few more passes, that would really be nice, but that's just not what he is. So looking ahead, Adoree Jackson's performance. In the last season, Jackson participated in 673 total snaps. Now, let's not forget how many games he missed as well, too. Suffering that knee injury, returning the punt in the Detroit debacle, shall we say. But he missed significant time due to his MCL sprain. Thankfully, it was just a sprain, right? Incurred during a punt return. He gave up 388 yards, 2 touchdowns, and recorded 8 pass breakups. Despite these setbacks, Jackson has been exceptional for the Giants over recent seasons, with notable improvements in his tackling performance compared to his 2020-2021 grades. As the team's cornerback number 1, tasked with tailing top receivers around the line of scrimmage, the Giants are hopeful for a standout year from Adoree before deciding on his future. Yes, I mean, it doesn't certainly 100% does not guarantee that they're obviously not going to bring him back, but obviously maybe might want to say how he performs this year. Maybe they can flip-flop, right? Maybe, I mean, if for some reason they wanted to bring Adoree Jackson back, they're probably not going to sign him at $20 million. I can guarantee you that. But I mean, if they think for somehow that maybe Adoree Jackson might wind up being might maybe take a little bit of a pay cut. Wouldn't mind maybe going over to cornerback number 2, letting Tay Banks be cornerback number 1. Yeah, who knows? As of now, it appears they may let his contract expire, explore the open market, and evaluate if a better scheme fit is available. So, but I mean, obviously that's what would you say? That's a little bit. That's next year. Right now, I mean, it's always, of course, it's always easy to look at the grass is greener someplace else, or looking down the road and all that and everything. But let's enjoy this season, shall we? I mean, once again, let's not forget a couple years ago we had Adoree Jackson, we had James Bradberry. We had a couple good corners. We had a nice, Logan Ryan and Jabril Peppers and Xavier McKinney and Adoree Jackson and James Bradberry. Jabril Peppers, I mean, just nice, nice secondary. So, I mean, unfortunately, the way it is with the money and all that, guys come and go, is what it is, So that certainly does not mean that, Adoree Jackson won't be back next year, but, you just kind of wonder because they haven't done anything with his contract. Meaning, it's like, a lot of time what Shane seems like he wants to do is, it doesn't want to, kick the can down the road. So it's kind of like same thing with Leonard Williams. They haven't done nothing with his contract. So instead of kicking the can down the road, might let it expire and then maybe take it from there and see if he can stay healthy, if he's healthy for this season. Does he want to take a pay cut? I mean, he's going to have to take a pay cut. Nobody's paying him $30 million or whatever next year. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter how many sacks he gets this year. He can get 10 sacks. He can get $30 million next year from nobody. So, I mean, just it all depends. We'll have to wait and see. But, I mean, if they do let him go, who's going to be another, who's going to be the other cornerback opposite Tay Banks? And then obviously one of the many interesting, there's a ton of interesting things. Who's going to be that slot corner? Who's going to be the guy standing next to Xavier McKinney, when they just basically have 2 safeties? Who's going to be that left guard? Obviously. Who's going to be starting wide receivers? Who's going to be the wide receiver not to make the team? Who's going to be the one wide receiver maybe one or two maybe that are on the practice squad. So a lot of stuff going on, a lot of interesting stuff we'll find out. And actually, it's going to start coming up in, I guess, a little less than a month, right? Because I think it's July 25th. I think that's when the rookies have to come back, and I think a couple of days later, that's when the veterans. So, man, it's under a month, guys. Unbelievable how fast the time flies. Simply amazing. All right, then I saw this here. Empire Sports Media. Could the Giants reunite with a former first-round pick to bolster their offensive line? Hey, I don't see this happening. Good old Justin Pugh. I think he's 33. Let me see here. Oh, where are we at here? There we go. Oh, he's 32. He'll be 33 soon. He didn't do too bad, actually. His past couple of seasons, he didn't do too bad. He graded out in the 60s, according to Pro Football Focus. Now, PFF has him as a one-year deal for $2 million. So, if he's looking to come back and play, right, obviously he would be some depth. There would be some nice depth. Wouldn't be very expensive either. So, maybe he might take a veteran, the veteran minimum, maybe, which is quite possible. If he really, really wants to play. And from what I'm just hearing, it's quite possible he wouldn't mind coming back to the Giants. Since the New York Giants made some significant improvements to their offseason line this offseason, but are still left with a weakness at the left guard position. At this stage in the offseason, the option and free agency are scarce, but one stands out among the rest. Former Giants first-round pick Justin Pugh, the 2013, I believe, first-round pick, is still available on the open market and could be an intriguing option to bolster their offensive line. Now, he would be depth. I don't see where he would wind up being a starter. Giants drafted Pugh in the first round of the 2013 draft. Okay, Syracuse product went on to start 63 games for Big Blue from 2013 to 2017 before signing with the Cardinals. During his time in New York, Pugh played a couple of positions. He was initially drafted to play right tackle before moving to left guard, then back to right tackle during his final season with the team. Pugh moved back to the interior and made 56 starts for the Cardinals since 2018. Primarily manning down the left guard position. Pugh's 2022 season was cut short after the veteran guard suffered a season-ending ACL injury in October. He recently took to Twitter to share an update on his ACL recovery and indicate his desire to get back on the field this upcoming season. Justin Pugh said on Twitter, says, I know I usually only post about real estate now, but my ACL recovery is going great. Now it just comes down to where do I want to play. As training camp nears, the Giants still do not have a clearly established starter at the left guard position. Well, they don't have they don't, but they have a couple guys clearly who are going to battle out for that position. Bredesen and Azuda are expected to compete for the starting job during camp. Yep, absolutely. But adding Pugh to the competition would give New York a viable third option and bolster their depth, which would be nice, on the interior of the offensive line. According to Pro Football Focus, Pugh surrendered 8 pressures and 0 sacks on 263 snaps prior to his injury in 2022. His expected market value is a 2-year contract paying $5.5 million annually. Now, that's not what it says on PFF, so I'm not. So that's a little discrepancy here. Ain't nobody paying him $5.5. He's coming off his ACL. Somebody's going to pay him. He's 33 years old. Going to pay him $5.5 million annually. I don't really see that happening. according to Spot Track. Okay, Spot Track. Well, PFF has him like at $2 million a year. Spot Track has him at $5.5 million a year. So I think that's a bit much. I can see the $2 million, but considering his injury and age, 32, and he's going to be 33 very soon, Pugh could likely be had on an affordable contract this late in the offseason. Yeah, I said, could even be like maybe the veteran minimum. Right. The Giants seem content with the two options they have at left guard. However, it couldn't hurt to add some extra competition to the mix. If Pugh has an interest in returning, New York should consider making the reunion happen to improve their depth up front. But let's also not forget, you got Lemieux there. If he can stay healthy and actually make himself available to get on the field, that would be fantastic. I said, we got other guys. So we got McKeithen. Let's not forget about McKeithen. You got Bredesen, right? Zudu. So, there's a lot of this. We got some guys there. I don't know about bringing in a 33-year-old, Justin Pugh for a couple $1 million. I don't know about that. Sometimes, once again, these articles just get written, it's a thought. He's good veteran. He's been in the league a long time. Got a lot of experience. Good locker room guy. Great quality guy. We'll have to wait and see. But the other question is he hurt himself in October. Now, would he be ready for the beginning of the season? So that's a question to be had here. So then we got 5 dreams. This is G-Men HQ. 5 dream scenarios for the New York Giants in 2023. Dream scenario number 1, which I got to agree with this one. Yeah, absolutely. Darren Waller plays all 17 games and shows out. Once again, we're talking dream scenario here. This is by far the most realistic one. However, it could be just as impactful as any other, considering how elite of a talent Darren Waller is when healthy. This sort of receiving talent is something the Giants haven't had since they traded away Odell Beckham. In Waller's last healthy season, he caught 107 passes for 1,196 yards and 9 touchdowns. I think, if I'm not mistaken, he caught 100, and actually that was 107 passes in 16 games. So I don't know what the heck that would be. Let's see, we got 64, we got 80, we got 96, right? 112. That's what I say 6 passes a game. So if we played 17 games, he'd have another 6 catches because we're playing 17. There he only played 16 games. So now at that rate, at a 17-game schedule, he would caught 113 passes. So, which would be a Giants record. Considering the fact that the Giants haven't had a receiver top 1,000 yards since 2018, having a healthy Waller seems almost necessary. Having a player of this magnitude would open up the offense an insane amount. Absolutely. And you couple him up with getting Saquon back. Absolutely. That's the best part about Waller. He doesn't even have to have insane individual numbers. Just having him as a threat will make life easier for the Giants offense as a whole. New York has had some talented players on offense, but none like Waller. This sort of player can break a defense down simply by running a route. Absolutely. Waller has notoriously struggled with injuries since 2020. However, with a new team, environment, and training staff, we're hopeful that the 30-year-old tight end can remain healthy and have arguably his best season yet. Man, if he had best season yet, watch out. All right, dream scenario number 2 for the Giants. Saquon and Joe Shane come to terms on a team-friendly deal. One of the biggest storylines for the New York Giants this offseason has been the potential Saquon Barkley contract extension and his refusal to sign the franchise tag. While we understand Barkley's frustration and him wanting to get paid big money, his reported price tag is simply too outrageous to pay. Barkley is a top 5 running back in the NFL, no doubt. However, with the value or lack thereof the position has, it's hard to justify paying him so much money. Despite this, wouldn't it be nice if the two sides can come together on a deal that wouldn't kill the Giants' cap space? May not be the most likely outcome, but with the way the running back market has looked this offseason alone, we doubt Barkley gets anything close to what he's reportedly asking. Dalvin Cook, a four-time Pro Bowler, was actually cut because the Vikings couldn't trade him. And Miles Sanders, who ran for 1,269 yards and 11 touchdowns, signed for $6.3 million per season. Wow. Barkley's better than both of these guys, don't get us wrong. However, it doesn't change the fact that the running backs simply aren't valued like they used to be. Alongside this, Shane and Dable both come from the Bills, who used third-round picks, Devin Singletary and Zach Moss, in their backfield in favor of pass-heavy offense. Yep. Says, but there's no doubt that Barkley is a massive piece of the Giants offense. Yes, he is. Well, I mean, there's a lot of it. It's like you start coupling him together, right? I mean, you start piecing the stuff all together. You start upgrading the offensive line. Daniel Jones is in the second season with the same offense, the same system. He's become more familiar. You're adding a piece like Darren Waller in there. You're going to bring back, Saquon's going to be there. So you're going to have Saquon, you're going to have Darren Waller. Then you start coupling them up with, a fast Paris Campbell. I'm not sure, who's going to be the other guys out there. But if you got Hyatt out there, fast Hyatt. You got Hodgins. Man's got hands of glue. If you get him the ball, if it's catchable, he's catching it. As I said, once again, Slayton got speed. We get Wan'Dale Robinson back here, very, very good. Same thing with Sterling Shepard. So I mean, we got a lot of good options. Dream scenario number 3: the New York Giants have 5+ Pro Bowlers. Wow. Whew. Wow. Well, I mean, let's say. I mean, you got the sexy one, right? You got Andrew Thomas, Saquads. Yeah, I can see Waller. I don't know. 5+. 5+. Maybe Graham Gano. Well, let's see what the article says here. Last season, we saw the Giants turn into just 2 Pro Bowlers in the form of Dexter Lawrence and Barkley. While New York definitely had some players like Andrew Thomas get snubbed from the game, we doubt that it happens again in 2023. Not only will there be a number of players improving as they earn more experience, but how good the Giants were in 22, it'll be hard for the voters not to pay attention to the team and its players this season. While Barkley, Lawrence, and Thomas are seemingly locks to make the Pro Bowl at this point, always they stay healthy. In a dream world, yeah. I mean, I guess Kayvon. Yeah, they're talking about Kayvon here. I mean, if he stops getting held and all, I guess I could say, that's possible. Yep. I forgot about him. Let's see it. The Giants have even more players make the games. Guys like Waller, Kayvon, and Daniel Jones. Yeah. Ooh. And then they say Graham Gano. Leonard Williams, and all are primed for big-time seasons and could very well make the game. Obviously, the Pro Bowl isn't the be-all, end-all, but it would be nice to see these players get the recognition they deserve. They can play as well as they want, but the voters must recognize these talents. Absolutely, yes. I mean, they can play fantastic, but certainly doesn't mean that they'll be in there. Dream scenario number 2: Daniel Jones will surpass 4,000 yards and 30 touchdowns. Wow. Let me tell you, not 30. All right. Okay. Well, hey, I'm all for it. Bring it on. Daniel Jones, following his best season yet, we're incredibly confident that Jones will continue to improve. However, to what extent will this improvement be? It seems pretty obvious that Jones will surpass his yardage and touchdown total from last year. If he, this is funny. If he don't surpass 15 touchdown passes,
Houston, we have a problem.
All right. Well, that means he probably only played half the season, okay, because he got injured. If he plays 16 games again and he gets 15 touchdown passes again, woof, we got a problem. Let's see here. It's pretty obvious that Jones will surpass his yardage and touchdown total from last year. However, in a dream world, Jones very well could put up some Pro Bowl level numbers considering how better the offense has got this offseason. Yeah. I mean, it's not, as I said, and let's not forget the offensive line as well, too. Now, the thing is, the question, is, will Evan Neal take that step forward? And how will Schmitz be in his first season? We know he's going to be should be a very good center, without question. I'm not, will he be a Pro Bowler, All Pro? But we do know there's a real good chance he'll be a very good center. But, will there be a little bit of a learning curve in that first season or so? We'll have to wait and see. Not only did Shane add a Pro Bowl level tight end, but he also made major improvements to the Giants receiving core as a whole, while also adding arguably the best center in the 2023 draft in the form of John Michael Schmitz. Considering how well Jones played in 22, with a much worse core, it's easy to say we'll see an increase in numbers. Absolutely, yeah. Last season, Jones completed 67.2% of his passes for 3,205 yards. So basically, he had 200 yards a game. 16 games, 3,200 yards. 15 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. So he had, basically had 1 touchdown pass a game. Alongside this, Jones ran the ball 120 times for 708 yards. I'd like to see that number come down to like maybe half. 50, 60 rushes. 16? So maybe it's 4 or 5 carries a game, maybe 5, maybe. I would like to say, yeah. And 7 touchdowns. Keep in mind that this was a bottom 5 offensive line and arguably the worst pass catching core in the entire NFL. Entering 2023, there is no excuses for Jones not to improve. Whether it's a marginal jump or we'll see him blossom into a superstar, it will be exciting to see how Jones performs nonetheless. If he manages to make the leap into stardom, though, that once criticized extension could look like a steal in no time. Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah. If. Say he throws for 25 touchdown passes, he's going to probably go a little deep a few more times. So that 5 interceptions, that's going to go up. But if he goes 25 touchdown passes, 26 touchdowns, just saying, and like 10 interceptions, But the 25 or so touchdown passes, if he starts doing good, that $40 million a year, will look a lot better. And then the number, oh my goodness, where did it get? Who is smoking this? Desmond Novak. Oh, I like your thinking, brother, but yeah, dude, I think you're smoking something here. The number one dream scenario. The New York Giants are your Super Bowl 57 champion. I hope he's right, but this may sound crazy. Yeah, but hey, in this scenario, we're living in a dream world. Okay, yes, you are. Last season, we saw the New York Giants make the divisional round of the playoffs where they would eventually lose to the Eagles, who are the Super Bowl runners-up. Now in 2023, the Giants have improved in almost every facet and have some playoff experience under their belt. It's a little crazy, but anything is possible. And with the way some teams collapse in the playoffs, the Giants could very well find themselves in the Super Bowl. This would be their team's first appearance since 2011, and they would, and with the way underdog stories usually go for the Giants, they very well could be the Super Bowl champions. I think we're getting a little carried away here, but the Giants have the coach, the culture, and the fan base, and arguably the personnel to, at the very least, make a deep run in the postseason. While realistically, the Giants are a couple of pieces away. Yes, they are. Yeah, from contending, you never know what could happen in the playoffs. If everything goes right, the Giants can see all 5 of these scenarios come true. They aren't all the most likely, but they are still possible. Regardless, it's going to be an incredibly fun season for us to watch as fans. Absolutely. Oh, yeah. It's hard to wait. Just, really, really hard to wait. Once again, it's amazing how how fast the time is flying by. It's like unbelievable. Before you know it, the training camp's going to start, season's going to start, and it's going to be off and running once again. So I can hardly wait. But be your Super Bowl champions. Well, hey, I hope they're right. But all right, so now my continuing little series here. What I got now is I got the Giants. This is the final one. The Giants special teams. Now, unfortunately, the Giants did not fare very well here in the special teams. So this is the last one. I did quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, tackles, guards, center. Interior defensive line, edge, middle linebackers, cornerbacks, safeties, coaching, and special teams. What's up, Terrence? Time is going to fly by. Oh, yeah. You got that right, brother. It's going to it's amazing because you know what I mean. 'Cause I almost hate it when the season starts because it's just like bam, bam. This week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. You know, I like it just like see July 4th like one of my favorite because it's a couple weeks just before training camp starts. Just before, because once training camp, preseason games, and all of a sudden, it's like Sunday the game comes and it's over. Then it's Monday to Tuesday, and then you're getting ready for the next game before the Sundays comes here and it's all. Yeah, it's like the games just go by so fast. It's like it just flies on by. It's amazing to me. It's like how once the season starts, and then then it's like whatever 5, 6, 7 weeks go by. It's like wow, Christ, a third of the season's over with already. It's like where the hell did it go? Then like a couple of weeks go by and you turn around, you're like, half the season's over with. What's going on? I mean, we played 9 games already. Are you serious? What? And then you turn around again. It's like we got 2 games left in the season. What is going on here? Why? It's amazing how fast it goes. But I mean, it's also sometimes, it's amazing how fast it, the off season flies by too. I mean, Super Bowl came and went. Obviously, the draft and the free agency and then the mini camp OTAs. Now 5, 6 weeks in between, then the training camp, then the preseason, So the nice thing I do like about it is always a little something. You know what I mean? It's not like the end of the season is January 7th and there's nothing until September. I mean? There's always like something. February, we got the Super Bowl, and then, then you got the free agency kind of like in March, and then you got the draft is in April, and then you got little mini camps and stuff like that, and OTAs and all, So then you got like a 6-week period where there's pretty much nothing going on, or actually you don't want anything to go on, because I mean if somebody's name comes up in the news in his 6 weeks off, it's going to be like, yeah, Xavier McKinney, he was down in Cabo and he was on an he was on an ATV and he fell over and he broke his hand. Yeah. Or so-and-so was arrested for drunk driving, or so-and-so, held up, it's like, so it's kind of like offensive linemen in this 6-week period. You don't want to hear your names. You don't want to hear nothing, because when you hear something, we got Holden on number 62 on the offensive line. That's a 10-yard penalty. That's no news is good news. So you want it to be nice and quiet in these 6 weeks. You don't hear no injuries or nothing like that. So, but it's amazing how fast it goes by. All right. So, unfortunately, I'll tell you what, this is not it. I didn't see about a week ago, the Giants were actually in second place. It was the Eagles. Then the Giants were actually in second place. They were ahead of the Cowboys, and the Commanders were like so far back. And somehow this did not end well for the Giants at all. So we got the special teams. This didn't end well. Let me tell you. All right. Well, overall, the Giants have the best kicker. I got Graham Gano because I think Dallas has got a new kicker coming in. So, I mean, I got Gano over Sly of Washington. Dallas looks like it might have a new kicker. And Jake Elliott, I mean, is a fine kicker, but I got Gano over him. But that's about as far as it's going to go. I mean, as far as, my goodness, kick return coverage and all of that, and punt return coverage and punt return. I mean, the Giants are the worst in like everything. As far as this is just last year. Now, I mean, nobody's got Devin Hester on their lineup in the NFC East, so it's kind of you know what I mean. Nobody's got Deion Sanders returning punts, right? And a lot of it too with the Giants. They had, I mean, all the teams had injuries. The Eagles had very few injuries, but the Giants had a lot of injuries, so I'm sure that also hampered them. And you have no idea I don't have a crystal ball. Who's going to get injured this year? Who's not going to get injured? You don't know. But I mean, just last year, I mean, the Giants were the worst between their punt return and punt return coverage. The Giants were the worst at kick return and kick return coverage. The Giants were worst at punting, like punting average. And I mean, where's he at? Where, his Jamie Gilliam, his net was 39.7. His touchbacks were 12.2, which by far the worst in the NFC East. Inside the 20 was 27 was 35%, which wasn't bad. But his touchbacks were 12%. I know one of the other guys only had, let's see here, touchbacks here. Tress Way from Washington, his touchbacks was 6%. Anger, the punter from Dallas, his touchbacks was 8.8%. Sipos, touchbacks was 6. He only had 3 touchbacks all year. Then again, the Eagles didn't punt a whole lot either, but his touchbacks was only 6.8%. So, so the Giants were they had the best kicker. I think I have the best kicker, but their punt coverage, kickoff return, kickoff coverage, and their punt and all that just were the worst. So I got, let's see, I got it there on. All right, so kickers, I got the Giants, number 1. The Eagles were number 2. Washington is number 3, and I got Dallas at number 4 because they got a new kicker. So punter, got Washington is number 1, Dallas is number 2, Eagles are number 3, and the Giants are number 4. That Scottish Hammer can boom the ball, but he's got to learn better directional punting. Not so much, if we're at the 50-yard line, we don't need him to boom it into the end zone. Can you check it up inside the 20? Our coverage team's got to be better. It was really bad. The discrepancy. Let's see here. Our punt return, we averaged 6.2 yards per punt return, which is not very good. We gave up 9.9 yards per punt return. So we basically gave up 10 yards of punt return. We averaged 6.2. Our kickoff, we averaged 21.3 yards a kickoff return. We gave up 25.6, which was the worst in the NFC East. Same thing with the punt return, the worst. So, let's see. So I got the punters. Let's see. Okay, the kickoff return. The Cowboys were number 1. Washington was number 2. The Eagles were number 3, and the Giants were number 4. Punt return. Dallas is number 1. Washington was number 2. Eagles are number 3. Giants are number 4. So overall, the Giants were number 4 in special teams. Okay, Washington was number 1. Let's see. Dallas was number 2. Eagles were number 3. So, unfortunately, what it wound up turning out, so the Giants, for a while, they were in second place, looking good. Didn't end up so well. So, with the special teams, Washington got 4 points, Cowboys got 3, Eagles got 2, Giants only got 1. The Giants, between their cornerbacks, their safeties, and their special teams, that really brought the Giants down. So, the grand total, Eagles are number 1. They had 41 points. Dallas was number 2. They had 37 points. So basically, that's the way it finished. Eagles number 1, Cowboys number 2. Unfortunately, the Redskins, they had a real nice the last few positions and all that. They caught the Giants and passed them. I got Washington was 32 points, and the Giants on last place at 30. So, thankfully, that doesn't, make how many wins the Giants are going to get this season and all that. But the Giants, according to this way I went over it, the Giants went up with 30 points and the Washington with 32. So I'll tell you what, if you look at it, if Washington ever winds up getting themselves a quarterback, they could be, they got a nice defense, nice special teams, the defensive front, nice, secondary's nice. I like Ron Rivera as a coach. It just, if you don't got a quarterback, it really, really is difficult. And, I'm not sure if their answer for quarterback is on their roster. So once again, they might wind up struggling a little bit once again this year, which is good for the Giants. That's cool. I'm saying, but if they ever get a quarterback, they could maybe do a little bit of damage. But as the way I got it right now, the Eagles came in first, Cowboys came in second, Washington third, Giants fourth. Maybe I'll do that again next year. And hopefully the Giants won't wind up in fourth place, but it is what it is. Well, it's been 44 minutes. Terrence, as always, buddy, good talking to you, pal. All right. So whoever spent any time at all watching me live, thank you. Or for anybody's going to spend any time watching the replay, this once again, thank you so much as always. Thank you. I can use all the support I can get, guys. And as always, you guys stay safe out there and go Giants. Woo! Oh, yeah.